You started off.
Welcome to the podcast. Watching complain. That's not it. Son of a bitch. Welcome to Hour of Sour, episode 10.
Six.
10.
Is it 10? Oh wow.
Last one was 9.
Oh
After
yeah, I'm
9,
sorry. I
10.
forgot. I just published 5. I can't remember.
How many episodes do we
together,
have
guys.
of the podcast? Didn't you say we had like 75?
That's right. Today I published our 75th episode.
So yeah.
And yet we're on
Exciting.
episode 10.
So if you're
Isn't that weird?
if you're hearing this
One
now,
year,
you're probably hearing this in like
episode
2023.
And then soon to be episode 1 of whatever I put on that thing as I don't know if it's going to be Film Gamer or what the heck I'm going to call it, but I'm going to use that subscription card for the new podcast, whatever that's supposed to be, that transcribes and SEOs everything.
Oh yeah, that thing you were talking about.
That'll be the first episode after the Oscar predictions come out. So I guess 2 weeks from now, I think I'll try and do that.
Exciting.
But
Okay. What's up in your life?
What's up?
I
Oh,
said
on
it
my life.
first.
So, I am working for Joe Blow, and I am doing a "Where in the Horror Are They Now" sketch on Barbara Crampton, and you know her from Reanimator, You're Next, Castle Freak, a couple of other things. That's just a 10-minute one, includes an interview with her. She's aged phenomenally well, by the way.
She is a phenomenally attractive woman.
Yeah,
I don't look at
I
the
was
thing.
like, because I went, like, I'm telling you, when I went from Reanimator, her introduction, and then I went to Jacob's wife, which she did last year, she does not look like
Yeah. Okay.
like a
Making sure I'm thinking of-
60-something-year-old woman.
Yeah, I'm making sure I was
That
thinking
was
of
a
the right
Shudder
woman.
exclusive. That one. And then I'm also working on a 20-minute revisited sketch for Joe Blow proper, called on a fish called Wanda.
Ooh,
And
wonderful.
an interesting fact I learned about that's not in the video is that a fish called Wanda and Die Hard came out on the same day. A fish called Wanda had a greater per theater average than Die Hard, because Die Hard only came out in a few theaters, and they both had limited releases, but I think they had a few more. We'll see. Anyway, or no. Either that or great. Now I got to think of the tweet, but basically A Fish Called Wanda made more money. A Fish Called Wanda made more money, is rated higher on Rotten Tomatoes, and won more Oscars than Die Hard. So by every metric that we use today, A Fish Called Wanda is higher. It's a good movie. But
It is a wonderful
if you ask
movie.
most people, they would say Die Hard, right? Is the
Mhm.
better movie. So that's just kind of.
Frisco Wanda is such a wonderfully intelligent movie, man. It's
Which
wonderful.
one would you rather watch right now?
Oh my! Have you
I've-
seen Jamie fucking Lee Curtis? I'd of course rather watch Fish Called Wanda.
Die Hard.
Have you seen it, Phil?
You're a madman.
Oh yes, a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't
yeah.
watch First Creatures, which is the second one with the same cast.
Yeah, I wondered about that. It's bad, eh, Rob?
Yeah, none of the jokes land. It's very lazy. You can tell John Cleese is not interested at all to be there.
You know what? Just instead go watch Joe versus Volcano. You'll be fine.
Or just
Yeah,
watch Fish Called Wanda
um,
again and look at Jamie Lee Curtis, who is gorgeous in that movie.
When they asked John Cleese what were his regrets, and he said marrying his first wife and doing Fierce Creatures. Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Rob, what's
How
up
about
in
you
your
guys?
For me, I have been. I went down to Brampton yesterday from Kingston to visit my dad. I brought my oldest son with me as a surprise for my dad, so that was great. The majority of this
Is
entire
he still
week,
there?
Yeah, I left him there. Fuck him. He can find his own way home. He hitchhike. I've been printing a lot of stuff. I printed something for Phil. I'm sure he's not using it.
It's up my butt right now.
Gross. But what I've been watching, I watched a couple of things we could. I watched a lot of At Home with Amy Sedaris. I find Amy Sedaris very funny. So I was watching At Home with Amy Sedaris, which made me laugh. My sons have been very interested in Chucky because they watched me watch that Shudder show, Chucky. I have a soft spot in my heart for Chucky. I love everything Chucky. It's so over the top and goofy and stupid and not really scary, even when they're trying to be. That I love it. So we've been watching all the Chucky movies. We are up to we have to start Curse of Chucky, which
How
is
many are there?
I believe there's 7. There's Child's Play 2, Child's Play 3, Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, and then there's the TV show.
And then there's the Child's Play remake.
Oh yeah, sorry, the Child's Play remake. Oh, and we did watch that. My boys actually thought that was scary, and I was like, okay, this was not scary, but it was nice to watch Aubrey Plaza. But yeah, so we were watching that. I also watched.
We're not doing that subject yet.
God damn it, Phil! I want to talk about the stuff I'm watching. All right, I'll
what's
say the
up
ones
in
that
your
I really
life?
hated.
What's the other one? What was he gonna say?
Oh, he's going to talk about it next.
I'll wait
in the next segment.
But no,
This is
also,
Hour of Sour, is it not?
No.
Oh no, it's just what's going on in our life.
You said Hour of Sour, episode 10.
Yeah.
See?
Yes, but it's we have
all right,
topics.
I get what you mean. What else have I done? Nothing. Working from home. That's
Yeah, but you, Phil.
Yeah, Phil. What are you doing?
I started my other show. It's called Can You Taste It? And I'm going to be trying different
gay pornography.
Yes.
You're going to be trying different gay pornography.
What a great show. Let's do it.
Mexican today, African tomorrow.
It's
different types of foods.
It's a food testing thing where, like, I love trying new products, and I'm also going to be doing imported products, which is what I start with. This where did I put it?
Yeah, way to go, Phil. It's behind your walker.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, probably.
On your Baja Blast.
It's Spark. It's raspberry lemonade, Mountain Dew. It's good. That's all I'll say about it.
Sure about that mix.
I will get into it on Can You Taste It? You'll be able to go see it at canyoutastit.com.
Oh, so it is a website. It's not on social media.
It's going to be everywhere.
Ooh.
Okay.
Phil's going to be
so there's nowhere
all over social media.
Look in the sky tomorrow. I hired a skywriter. No, I did not do that.
Where can you taste it at got.com?
Where can you taste it?
Or whatever
in
it's
my
called.
butt.
Taste it in my butt.com.
I'm going to get a new
saw the
shirt.
WhatsApp. How did you make the WhatsApp symbols? Those pictures? Did you make those yourself?
Oh, I made those myself. Yeah. It's the new logos, but it's like I'm torn. It's like I kind of like the sexy, sultry one, but I can't use it anyway.
I'd say that came to mind when I was looking at either of the logos.
When you call something like how much can I eat.com, I'm like, oh yeah, there's sex involved in that.
Oh yeah.
What can I stuff in my mouth?
You guys are like George Costanza, trying to combine two things that do not go together.
Excuse me, food and sex go together perfectly, and I love that episode. Anyway,
it is a funny episode though.
Wow. What are we watching?
I'll go first because Phil cut me off before.
Yes, Rob, what are you watching?
So yeah, at Amadeus Sedaris, all the Chucky movies. I watched or attempted to watch because it is boring as fuck. I have no idea how it became a classic or why it has been remade. I tried to watch the original West Side Story from 1961 because I had never seen it.
That seems like such a mistake.
That shit is garbage. I'm watching it, and for anybody that hasn't seen West Side Story,
is that a country western?
Let me explain to you what happens in the first
the West
hour,
was one
60 minutes of this movie. Here's what it is. Here's a guy going. Then the camera pulls back, another guy. Camera pulls back, another guy. And then they all walk over and they're like snapping, we're the Jets, don't you love to be the Jets? And then they're still fucking snapping down the street. And then they run into a Puerto Rican guy and it all stops. And then Puerto Rican guy walks down the street. And then Puerto Rican guy. Then it pulls back, another Puerto Rican guy. Pulls back.
And this goes on for what, 3 hours?
We're the Sharks. Sharks. And then Sharks and Jets. Half an hour goes by, and these fuckers are just singing about being fucking sharks and fucking jets and playing goddamn basketball and fucking stabbing each other with knives. It's so indescribably stupid. And then it goes to this guy's sister Maria, and Maria's fucking I'm Maria, I'm new in America. It's awful. How this movie, I couldn't watch all of it. by
Well,
an
maybe they
hour and a
wanted to
half.
remake it because they could actually make a good movie out of it.
I don't know
The
how
new one
they
does the
could.
same thing. It's
And
exactly
I'm
the
that's
same.
not saying
You
that I
haven't
bet
seen
Spielberg's
it,
is
It
total
also
garbage.
stars Adam Sandler.
I haven't seen it yet, but I will be amazed if it holds my interest even a bit, because this one I had to turn it off. It was a piece of
You
shit.
know what I
I
think,
don't know how
Rob?
it became a classic.
I think that Steven Spielberg appreciates all the good things about West Side Story, but 100% realizes how lame it is. And he will, along with his screenwriter, basically make every single change possible to make sure that people snapping fingers at each other for 2.5 hours isn't completely stupid. Because I have
We'll
all those
see,
same
but
criticisms.
it's
It's
made
gonna
my
be
interest in watching it go
it's
fucking
gonna be
straight downhill.
CG snapping of fingers. It's gonna
Right?
be
It'll be like
From-
ET. It'll be like Ready Player One. There'll be ET and fucking Jurassic Park, Tyrannosaurus Rex running around
Can I
snapping his
get your
fingers.
Ready Player One opinion on the podcast here?
Ready Player One. It was a fine book. Fine. It was an adequate book.
it was a movie too.
Just under adequate movie. The movie relied
Just under adequate, eh?
Yeah, the movie relied way too much. Now the book relied on nostalgia, and then I was like, man, the parts that like where he's working out and where his girlfriend's dumped him and stuff, that's going to be, and where he's in the cell where he's got to work stuff. That's going to be great. Then they cut that out of the movie. I'm like, well, this is fucking bullshit. But then when I read Ready Player 2, I was like, wow, Ready Player 1 was actually kind of good, because Ready Player 2 fucking sucks.
The movie to me doesn't rely too much on nostalgia, because it's like, if you think about it, all of the clues to all of it have to do with who Halliday is as a person. They don't so much have to do with,
I'd argue Halliday
you don't
is not
have
a
to know
person.
what adventure is
Halliday
to
is a
understand
collection
the
of
final clue.
nostalgia. He's not.
All
a
I
person.
remember is Ready Player One was Easter egg the movie.
Yeah,
Do
and
you
that was
guys
the problem.
think
Was
of
Halliday's
it,
Halliday's
though,
not really a person.
as like a hit enough that it would be like, if they were advertising West Side Story as from the director of Ready Player One, would that be a selling point or a hurting point?
Yeah, it would hurt. It would hurt
for me.
Skip that over.
But you should,
I
because
like
I know
it.
they're going to be making a movie of it. Because he said, Ernest Cline has said they're going to make a movie of it. I'd suggest
the author of the book wants to make more money, so of course he's going to say
but
that.
I'd suggest read Ready Player 2. And it will remind you absolutely that Halliday is not a person. He's just a collection of nostalgia, because that's literally what he turns into in the second book.
Right, going by your review of the book, we shouldn't waste our time on it at all, because the book is awful as I recall you saying.
It's like I've always said, and I said it on this show before, you're not going to know something really good unless you watch something real or read something really bad. And Ready Player 2 is a really bad book.
I did see Bloodwork, so I can enjoy really good movies.
Bloodwork. All right, two more things I just want to mention. I watched Dope Sick. Michael Keaton, as always and as expected, spectacular. He's like fucking Richard Jenkins. Whatever you see him in, regardless if it's a piece of shit, he's still an amazing actor. He's amazing to watch. The movie or the TV show itself, it meanders a little bit. The parts that are based on fact are really interesting, but the parts that are trying to overly sell the drama, they really fall flat because they just repeat themselves over and over and over again. But overall, it was. I'd suggest watching it. It was fine enough. And then a miniseries that I believe is going into a second season, but I got 4 shows in, and it was, no part of it was memorable. It was boring. It was okay acted, but Alison Pill shows up, and I don't like Alison Pill at all. It was a show from 2020 called Them, about a Black family moving to Compton, California in the 1950s. When it was, a suburban white area, and them having to put up with all the inherent racism that's going to come along with that, which normally would make for an interesting story. But then there's a bunch of like haunted ghost story shit in it, but they don't really let you know who's seeing the ghosts. Is it the mom? Is it the daughter? Is it all of them? Where's the father gone? They've talked about, it's like Lost. They ask and ask and ask and ask and get nowhere.
You
And
find that a lot of times, Rob, these TV shows forget that they're TV shows and that they actually need to entertain for an episode before they
and that's what this felt like. Not to mention, I know Phil's had great bitch fests about shows, specifically Spider-Man, that are very dark. This show, Them, holy fucking Christ! I was watching.
It's like torture porn, from my understanding.
It really is. But there were some scenes that were so dark that I had to come down to I was watching it upstairs in the living room. I had to come downstairs, close the door, turn off all the lights in my movie room, and watch it that way. Now, of course, that's the best way to watch a good movie, in a dark room. But I had to have it so dark and be focusing so much on what was going on. I figure maybe their cinematographer wore an eye patch and was looking at it through the wrong eye. He was maybe looking actually through his eye patch in the camera, because you can see next to nothing. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to watch this for 10 fucking episodes. This is awful. So yeah,
so I wonder if they got Bradford Young to be the cinematographer, because he was the cinematographer on Solo, and that like
what colors do you want, gray or black?
Are you saying
I got a refund for Solo in
Are
the
you saying that the lighting was so low?
Hilarious. All right, that's all of what I watched. Over you, Will.
So I did my first review actually in a while. I reviewed Ozark season 4.
Don't spoil it for me.
Which is funny to. I won't spoil it because there's nothing to spoil. This is a show like the Book of Boba Fett, where nothing happens, but people threaten for things to happen, and nothing happens. Something happens at the end, which I won't spoil, but like it's like this could have happened in the first episode, and not much would have changed. It's kind of funny to me because it's a TV show where, similar to we reviewed for Netflix Lost in Space, where I was sort of off and on the first 2 seasons. The third season of Ozark was good, like threateningly. I'd say it was pretty good, like just on the level of C plus B minus. This is not as good as that, obviously, because it's half of a season. They decided to squeeze more content out of it by doing a supersized season and then cutting it in half. So God knows when we get the necessary second half. It's a show that makes you appreciate like just good players. Like Jason Bateman is consistent. The girl who plays Ruth Langmore, Julia Garner, is consistent. Aura Linney is good no matter what you give her. So just seeing those 3 people interact, and even as a character, Navarro, how can how can you make a drug cartel head of a drug cartel boring? You kind of can't, because they can pretty much dispense violence at any point. So that's interesting, but again, not much happens on the show. So I'd recommend reading my review of it on Film Gamer, because it's my favorite mid-tier show, basically. That like you're not missing anything if you don't watch it, but it has enough of an audience that it's fun to discuss certain things with. So that was one show that I watched. The other one was Cobra Kai, and it came out on December 31st. So you actually, for once, had, for the very first time in forever, them deliver 2 seasons within 1 year, which never happens in the modern TV landscape. It's always like 2 years or something between episodes. But so they did 10 episodes, and I hesitated to watch it. And I was kind of like, before you watch like another movie in a series or another TV show in the series, and you're like, do I need to, like, should I just stop here before I even watch the next season? Am I even going to be into this? And I watched it. It was very bingeable. Me and my dad got through it in about 2 days, and it's reliable, just enjoyable hit. I've never seen The Karate Kid, but true to good storytelling.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it necessary to watch The Karate Kids? You don't? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's probably weaponizes nostalgia as a storytelling device better than any show that I've seen, where the passage of time is a strong advantage to the story. And it's funny. It's probably one of the only lighthearted comedy shows, and I love that it's only a half hour, that uses has a politically incorrect character who's not an anti-hero. He's the protagonist, and he's super politically incorrect. But the show is aware that he's a doofus, so it has him say stuff like that, even though it softens him up. But it's never like, ooh, oh, look at this being provocative. You believe that character would be, that dumb or say those things. And as well, the show isn't afraid to introduce new characters, which it constantly does. The only thing you kind of got to forgive is like some of the stuff on it is very corny. Some of the characters don't work, but the show isn't coasting, which I was worried it would do, because this is originally a YouTube show that was bought by Netflix, and
Mhm.
Netflix has a history of making shows suck once they absorb them. This is not the case, so I definitely recommend that. And the final show that I was watching was Evil, which Phil had seen before, and it's basically about a lapsed Catholic, a priest in training who's played by Luke Cage, and the guy from Mr. Aziz, the pizza place owner. Uh,
Shit.
he's a skeptic, and they basically Asaf Mandy, or I don't remember his name, Katja Herbers, and Mike Coulter is Luke Cage's name. Anyway, the three of them are recruited by the Catholic Church to be assessors into things that might be divine or unrelated. And then the guy from Lost, Michael Emerson, is basically the personification of evil, although he's very much influenced by that. He's not, the root of all evil or anything. Like, he's the main villain, but there's a sense that there's levels above him in the show. Generic title, but it actually does earn its title as just being called evil, because the whole thing is about the nature of evil, the root of all evil, the evil within us
What
all.
happened to the
And
girl?
pardon?
Wasn't there a girl in the first season?
Yeah, Katja Herbers.
Oh,
She plays I forget her name on the show. Kristen Bouchard. Yeah. And then the other guy's named Ben, and Leland Townsend is the name of the bad guy. I can remember all of the characters except for Mike Coulter's name, which is weird because he's like the main guy. But it's an intelligently written show. They explore social themes better than anyone. It's just because it's from the creators of The Good Wife and The Good Fight. They're very good procedurally. They come from network television, and this first season on Paramount Plus is the first season where it's like a streaming show. They're like in streaming mode. So it has some problems with like forward momentum of the story. Interestingly, in this season, they have the things that Dexter never did, where they have a no going back moment for the characters, but it's kind of, they're so tricky in their way of getting around that it's kind of left me unsatisfied at the end, that I didn't feel that even though a lot had happened, it felt like not a lot had happened, but still it's very funny, very smart show. That's one that, coupled with 1883, which I watch from time to time, not really worth talking about, but it made subscribing to Paramount Plus worth it.
Evil has a horrible arc. That bad
It's supposed
that
to. It's fucking evil.
that
No, but
bad
what do you mean,
character,
Phil?
like the evil character that's in the dreams, like
Oh, George,
that whole
the
thing is fucking
The evil
stupid.
George.
Like
well,
everything aside from that is great,
so I
and but
can,
that killed it for me. I
yeah,
hated it.
Rob, there's so the remember that Night Terrors documentary that came out? It's not a documentary, but it was like a movie about people talking about having night terrors of they wake up in their bed and they can't move, and there's a evil figure staring over them.
As soon as something like
Anyway,
that comes out, like those ghost shows, or I woke
but
up and I
remember
was
the
married to
show,
a
the
lesbian
documentary
Nazi
Room
hooker, I never watched
237? You
that
ever
shit.
Rob,
watch that, Rob?
that issue is real.
Room
What's
two,
that?
yeah, exactly. Room 237. Did you ever see that
Oh
documentary
yeah,
on The
that
Shining?
yeah. On
So the
crazy
guy who
people that watch The
created that
Shining.
show came out with a movie about those night terrors, and this show basically takes that and runs with it. I agree with Phil that it doesn't always work, but they basically have those evil spirits as like a character, and the weird dysmorphia of have them being like a British guy or something, and have them basically as like a ghost character for these characters to talk to. Um, they do it to voice their inner consciousness in a way that they would never speak to, so it makes sense in that way, but it never, it feels provocatively odd, like off-putting with the rest of the show, because it's basically a straightforward procedural which has like the guts to go and
Yeah,
have, one of its characters commit murder.
the procedural part of this show is great, but like that whole, I just, it lost me on that stupid night terrors thing, because it was just silly and dumb. It just didn't
They
work. It
knocked
didn't
that
connect.
down
It's
in this season by a lot.
good.
But the the main character's mother as a character doesn't really work. She's needed to expand the show, but her behaviors don't make complete sense. But
'Cause
she's
the
playing
show should be every week an X-Files like show where
that's
within
boring after a while if like nothing happens. That's
But-
why I quit watching Fringe, because of 15
love
episodes in, there
Fringe.
hadn't been any
Fringe was
momentum. So I'm like,
awesome
I'm
all the way
bored.
through. You're welcome.
Yeah. But Rob, check it out. Check it out. Just watch the first episode of Evil. If you can, I would recommend it.
If you can get through it.
Or watch The Good Fight. The Good Fight is actually, I would strongly recommend.
My
that, 'cause
wife
that's
watches a good fight. I don't have a lot of interest in it, but she seems to think it's fucking great.
There's one, Michael Sheen, right, Rob?
Mhm.
He gets introduced in the third season as like a super brash American who says whatever he wants, and my dad loved that character. He's so hilarious, politically incorrect. He's basically his character on Prodigal Son, but like sane. So yeah, 100%. Just watch the pilot of The Good Fight. I would recommend watching, just because as a singular piece of episodic television is great. And then there's also an episode where one of the characters gets shot. That's also one of the best episodes of television I've seen. But, the last 2 seasons haven't been up to that. I'll watch that after this. But yeah, that's what I'm watching.
All right, Phil.
I am watching with my wife Cork Cam, which is just a casual show to watch. To like,
Oh, that's an actual show.
Yeah,
I didn't get what you guys were saying in the chat. I thought you were
Cork
making
Cam.
jokes.
Court Cam. It's just looking at publicly released videos of like court things that have interesting things that have happened in like court cases in like within publicly released video that's gone out there.
What
And-
platform is it on?
I love when Phil like bitches about
TLC
this protagonist sucks, this
or
narrative is
TLC.
bullshit, this
I'm
narrative
thinking
doesn't make any
TLC.
sense.
I'm not exactly sure.
And then he starts
Oh, okay.
watching a show like Court
Spike.
Cam.
It doesn't matter. It's just one of
A-
those casual
A&E
things.
probably.
It could be. It's one of those casual things. It's just enjoyable to watch. I've always enjoyed court type things, court type content.
Said,
And
you know what this needs? A
I used to
fucking camera.
watch live PD until it was
We need
canceled because of all the stuff that was going
Court
down
Cam.
with fighting the police, and there was a lot of stuff on live PD that you'd watch and go, yeah, that guy shouldn't be doing that. That guy should be doing that.
Like,
Phil said to
when
his
they're
wife, he's like,
tricking
hey, Phil's
their
wife, do you want to sit
people
down
into
and we'll
arrests?
watch Court Cam and Cops? And
Oh,
it's
she
a whole
loves it.
weekend of Cops and Court Cam.
Well, I'll be
Okay,
happy
Chucky
to-
lover.
I'll be
I'd
happy.
rather
to-
watch
you,
Chucky
you
before
watch
fucking
you
Court
watch a
Cam.
freaking show about a stupid fucking doll who goes around haunting people, and you get mad at me for watching ghost shows.
Court
Fuck
Cam.
you.
So what you
Chucky
guys have
edition.
on the horizon is my question of like what show. For me, there's Station 11, which I'll finish because I got 3 episodes in and stopped because I talked to somebody on Twitter about it. I hate now. It's like you either go week to week or you do it all at once. None of this hybrid BS, because it's a show that you
Did it get
binged
released?
right, Phil?
Did it get released all at once?
No,
It
no,
didn't.
they released 3 episodes, and then they did like 2 episodes the next week, and then 2 episodes the
Sorry,
next
I
week.
missed what you're talking about. What were you talking about?
Station 11.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But when you watched it, Phil, you watched it all at once, did you not?
Yeah, with my wife.
Yeah, and
After
so
Court
that's the
Cam.
problem, is that it's a show that lends itself to binge watching of like, don't stop, or you lose the momentum.
No,
Now, Phil, what was a better show, Station 11 or Court Cam?
Station 11, but it's not about the depth of the show and how great it is. It's just about, this is one of those casual things you throw on while you're eating dinner or whatever and just enjoy it. I love it, and I can't wait for the next season. The other show that I'm really interested in, if Rob will like it, is All of Us Are Dead.
Yeah, it's that Chinese show,
Korean
show?
zombie.
South Korean, yeah.
South Korean.
You know, South
Don't know it.
Koreans are bringing out some great content
They are,
lately.
dude.
So
One of
Did
my
you guys try
favorite
and watch
fucking
Dr.
recent
Brain?
South Korean zombie movies. One Cut of the Dead, I believe it's called. Fucking fantastic goddamn movie.
Isn't that Japanese?
Is it Japanese? I thought it was Korean, but maybe I'm wrong.
You're such a
I
racist
rem-
bastard.
I know. I disgust myself.
Because isn't there a
You know what,
remake or
Phil?
that
You're
came
gonna
out
find
in
me
the
on
news
Cork
that
Cam
somebody's
talking
remaking
in
it?
some getting under arrest for making some racist remark towards.
I'm completely
someone I
surprised you're
realized.
here at all. I thought you were in Ottawa right now up at the protest there.
That's right, with me and Trudeau hiding under his bed.
Oh geez. This is a great show. At first I was wondering, like, you watch the first episode and you really have to get through it.
So it sucks.
No, the first episode, of course, is going to give you like stuff to build upon, but then once it gets into the zombie part, it just doesn't stop, and it's really good.
We'll see. It's no Cork Cam, but
It seems
we'll see if
like
it measures up.
it seems like an anime type show.
It's
Like a live action anime
It
type
kind
show.
of is. If you,
Has anybody here watched
yeah.
Arcane?
Yeah, I watched the first episode and
I watched it all. I loved it.
respected it.
My son is saying now he likes anime. He wants to learn about anime. So
But
is it
Arcane
so-
isn't
I will give him
anime.
lots of stuff to watch.
Well, not the stuff that you're into. Here's
It
anime.
Oh,
does
I'm
seem
sorry.
like how many anime shows
And
take
die.
place in
He's
school?
I don't think he's ever seen any, but he's heard of it and seen pictures of it. So he wants to start watching.
Come to watch Lovely
not those
Complex.
kind of pictures of anime.
Parasite.
But what?
Remember, okay, back in the early days of this show, I talked about Parasite, and it was
Yeah,
the
Bong
guy
Joon-ho
that
movie.
has like a parasite on his hand, and it talks.
I thought you were talking
And it
about
also
Bong
does,
Joon-ho's
like,
Parasite movie.
It's like a venom-like creature. Like it's
You guys think
It's a
that
good show.
HBO version of Parasite will end up getting made or no?
the one that's based on the Bong Joon-ho movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. That movie is so like singular. You know what I mean? Like I can't see anywhere
I
else.
kind
for
of
the
felt
story
that
to
it was
go.
rushed, to be honest. Like so much of
I
it was
thought it was
montage.
great.
It goes through a huge amount of time. I honestly think that it's weird because for me, the first half of the movie takes too long to get going. So I forgive when people say, I couldn't get into it, because it takes a long time for the full family to like integrate, which makes sense, but would make sense more on a television show. And then the second half, it takes off. And then in the second half of the movie, the way it all thematically lines up, which makes complete sense. It's a great movie, but the way in which it's like, oh, it's something underneath the stairs that's like a third party element that we didn't know of previously. It bothers me. Of like,
I've
yeah,
heard
it's
so
under
many
the skin.
people. I've heard so many people talk about how good the Snowpiercer show is, and I'm like,
no.
I
Yeah,
watched
like
the first
Snowpiercer was a
episode of that.
spectacular
I'm like,
movie.
out.
but never
Yep.
the TV show.
I went
I'll
further
avoid
into it, and
completely.
it was shit. It was. I love the movie. Snowpiercer
movie
is
is
Oh yeah, it's so
good.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a movie that
Chris
you don't
Evans' best
expect to be
movie.
as fucking good as it is, and then you watch
I
it.
rewatched it and it was like this movie, like not a second of it is wasted. And I know nobody wants to give it credit, but like honestly, I feel like him being at war with Harvey Weinstein over editing the movie actually helped it, because I find in other Bong Joon-ho movies, Memories of Murder and Parasite being one of them, I know they're classics, but like there's a bit of fat in them in both of those.
Especially
And
Memories of Murder.
Snowpiercer is cut down like a razor sharp bullet, and it
Even when you watch The
moves.
Host, man, The Host, I think is fucking similar to Snowpiercer, just down to the wire. There's nothing in The Host.
I think it's
that doesn't
okay.
either. I love The Host.
For me, that was
great.
the first one that I actually watched. I think one of them, and I was like thrown by the tone, and I thought it was pretty funny. But the problem with comedies like that is that the threat of the alien or monster isn't always like super apparent. Like it's kind of like choosy. And maybe that's just like an Asian element to it, because in Godzilla, the remake of Godzilla from 2014, I found that was the same of like, I don't really feel the danger here. Train to Busan, the first one, I felt it. The second one, weirdly, I found that it definitely did have the danger to it, Peninsula.
Yeah.
But Train to Busan, there's a whole lot of like when they're in the cart, like within feet from the thing, I'm like, and then inconsistently, I didn't quite find that way in Army of the Dead, where even though they're going through the crowd of that, in the one scene from that movie that I like,
It's Rob's
which is kind of
favorite.
inconsistent. But
The great part of Army of
yeah.
the Dead is the start when all the showgirl zombies are running around with their tits out. That was great.
Okay, so moving on.
Mhm.
But we're talking about zombie tits. Oh, so we're talking about Cork Cams, but not zombie tits.
We were hinting or asking about it before in a previous episode, so we're going to go right into it. Top 5 movies and or TV we are most looking forward to in 2022, this year.
All right, Will, you'll go first.
I'll go first. It's annoying because I put that list on WhatsApp, and of course I can't get into WhatsApp right now. So
no.
I'm just gonna give you the 5 in no particular order. Number 1 is Avatar 2. This is obvious. Never bet against James Cameron. He makes the biggest and best movie for the story that he can every time. I know his writing is lacking for some people, that I get totally. But in terms of pushing technology, in terms of showing you an experience you haven't had before, I think that for somebody who personally thinks Terminator 1 is okay and Terminator 2 is one of the best movies ever made, I think that's going to be Avatar for this. And I can't wait to see it. The first trailer, I think, is going to probably blow our socks off, because we're not going to it's going to be like a Star Wars level jump of, like, imagine if you went from The Mandalorian to Star Wars Episode 3 or something like that, in terms of the leap in scale that this is going to be. And I find it annoying how everybody's like, oh, well, nobody remembers Avatar. It's like, it's not like the story is so basic. It's not something to forget. So
it's basically, like I've always said, I did not hate, but certainly did not enjoy the first Avatar, because it's basically space dances with wolves. But I totally agree with that. What's that?
It's Pocahontas.
Yeah, or it's honestly, if you watch Dances with Wolves, it's Dances with Wolves.
I don't think I've ever watched that.
It could be Pocahontas too. I can't remember a lot about Pocahontas. Other than that, she's like 14 years old. But yeah, I'd love for that to be the fact that Terminator 1 is a wonderfully the best way to describe Terminator 1, when talking about James Cameron, is that movie is an exercise in making a movie as cheaply and effectively as you can. It is done so well that with Terminator 2, that's what Terminator 1 would have been had he had the budget and the scale for it. And yeah, hopefully that is exactly what Avatar 2 is. That Avatar 1 can be, Avatar 1 got me into the universe, but Avatar 2 is the one that made me love it. So sorry, I sidetracked you completely, but I had to mention that Avatar 1 was crappy.
Hopefully we won't get a Matrix issue.
No, you won't, because it's like, it's not made by a filmmaker, dare I say, that's past their prime. Like this, it's an intentional amount of The Matrix was them revisiting on purpose. This one is forging a new path. Phil, how do you feel about Avatar 1?
I think it's good, but I wasn't as big into it as other people are. Like,
I agree with both of you.
I thought the 3D was great.
But yeah, seeing it in theaters, it's probably like, it felt like an epic experience. And even though it was telling in service of a basic story, that nonetheless hits all its marks.
I felt the same, honestly, and I know a lot of people piss on it, but I feel the same about Titanic. Titanic is a very pedestrian story, but watching that movie is spectacular. It is an amazing feat of movie making.
Just long.
It's a bit too long, but
and that's what I want to see.
I'll tell you, watching that fucking Titanic fall apart gets me every single time. I'm amazed watching that boat fall apart.
Number 2 on my list, I'll just stack it with the movies at the top, is Killers of the Flower Moon. I don't really like every Scorsese movie. I've warmed a bit more to him as I've gotten older, because he's an old man filmmaker. But he in a lot of his movies are boring. Like, I watched The Last Temptation of Christ. Interesting. Literally. But anyways, and I was so excited for Silence, and then I couldn't get 20 minutes into it. I was so bored. I had to stop.
Silence. That was great.
I'll finish it, because I know it's a journey, but I feel now the work that he does with Leonardo DiCaprio is basically more my speed than his work with De Niro. So him doing this, I think it's going to be good. Jesse Plemons, we talked about how good of an actor he is, and he's going to be the lead in it. And I love serial killer stories when done with a lot of focus. I don't like documentaries that kind of go nowhere and offer no answers. So I haven't been as high into that genre as other people. But considering how expensive and in scale his movies have gotten, I'm interested in it because I like maximalist filmmaking. That's what I'm there for. Number 3 is The Fabelmans, which is Steven Spielberg's childhood movie. Steven Spielberg just always makes watchable, enjoyable movie. Can't wait to see West Side Story, even though it's not really my speed. But yeah, that's number 3. Number 4 is The Batman, which I just want to see just because Batman is just a good character. I don't really like Robert Pattinson, but I believe that Matt Reeves is a talented filmmaker. And just them doing this, Batman as the detective and again, the murder mystery type angle of it, I think will be okay. They're working with a really great crew. So there should be no excuse for it to be that bad, unless the script is really as bad as I'm afraid it will be, because it shares, I believe, one of the Uncharted writers. Yeah, we'll see. But nothing like a bad script to keep Matt Reeves down. He's a good enough director that he can kind of overcome that as the best can. And then my number 5 is The Last of Us HBO TV show. This is just HBO knowing that they need a big A+ show. And Euphoria and Succession are popular.
They have a lot of shows. They have a lot of shows coming out this year, so I'm looking forward to them.
And they've upped their content take. I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, it's good that they have Peacemaker and Station 11 and all of these coming out at the same time, in Succession, and there's in Euphoria, which I don't like, but there's a little something for everybody. And this seems to have their attention of like, this is their number 1 project. Like this might be their Game of Thrones. There's that capacity. Even though, the apocalypse is just so overdone, but it's kind of like the zombie thing where I'm always ready for it because it can always,
there's always a new way stakes. There's always a new way, a new angle to take it on. You know what I mean?
And people will just keep eating it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So that's my
William. Over to you, William.
So I had an issue, and my issue was that I have 2 lists. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll keep it short.
Mine's kind of in one list, but I got one for TV and one for movies. So
yeah. What do you want first, TV or movies?
I don't give a fuck.
Which will?
Fuck off.
TV. All right. Number 5, Wool. WOOL. It's going to be on Apple TV Plus, to be announced in 2022, based on the best-selling phenomenon, which began as an ebook about a dystopian future where society exists within a giant silo deep underground with disturbing regulations meant to protect them.
Are they
sounds like Day of the Dead?
Are they living in a sheep?
Yeah.
They're living under the dome.
Oh boy. Number 4, and we'll enjoy this. Miss Marvel. Yeah. It's
great
coming
source
out
material.
2022 at some point on Disney
Plus. I thought it would have come out before Moon Knight. Didn't you?
No. Because I was surprised when Moon Knight was coming out. I thought She-Hulk would be next, but I think, isn't it now like Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, and then
makes sense, yeah.
Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
Number 3, The Last of Us. I'm on that bandwagon. I did not play the game. I'm not a PlayStation person. I know that they're very popular, and I probably would have played the game if I had a PlayStation. I'm looking forward to the show. It has a lot going for it.
The Last of Us Part 2 is one of the best stories, because they haven't had their best yet, but one of the best stories video games have told, even though I don't agree with half of the character decisions are just stupid, but the way it tells its story,
maybe they'll
perfect.
fix it in this TV show. Do you think they're going to go do you think they're going to adapt it 1 for 1?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, that's what I do. I think they'll better sprinkle in elements now that the second game is out, that they'll be able to plant some seeds a lot better. But I think it will basically be like a pseudo remake of the first game, which is perfectly lends itself to it. It's basically Station 11.
As long as you don't Monster Hunter it, we're good. The last days
Monster Hunter. I forgot that existed.
It's a horror. Anyway, I don't know how to say this word, but Last Days of Ptolemy Gray. It is coming out on March 11th on Apple TV Plus. It's Samuel L. Jackson plays the titular. This isn't my writing. Ptolemy Gray as a far along dementia patient who falls into the care of a teenager. Eventually, they discover a treatment that can get him his memories back, and those memories prove super revealing.
Is it Shark Brains from Deep Blue Sea?
Yes.
Nice.
Phil, you should watch
Deep Blue Sea.
good joke, Rob. You should watch Phil Dr. Brain. Have you seen that at all?
Is that the one with Neil Patrick Harris?
No, it's a South Korean drama. The guy on it was also in Parasite, and it's basically about a crazed brain surgeon who has no connection to humanity at all. He's basically a psychopath, and he discovers a way that he can connect his brain to that of a dead person and see their dead memories, and he starts to see visions, and it looks beautifully.
Does it have
I watched
English
the first
dub?
2 episodes. I'd watch it with subtitles. That's how I
don't do
watched
subtitles. I can't.
Oh,
Then yes, there's a dub.
baby.
There's a dub.
Okay.
How about we record the dubs?
My number one, that would be fun. Then my number one of TV would be Secret Invasion. I really want to see what they do with this.
Is it animated?
No,
it's Samuel L. Jackson again. Yeah.
Okay.
They're what's his name? Talos or no? What's his name?
I wish Marvel.
Talos, the Skrull.
Look, dude,
yeah.
I love Marvel, but Marvel just needs to start putting again at the end of every one of their goddamn shows, because that's what it feels like Marvel is doing. Here's Sam Jackson again. Here's Miss Marvel. Remember, like Captain Marvel? It's like, but it's Miss Marvel.
Fury is somebody who they've kind of, I don't know what the deal is, but they've never super pulled the trigger on it. Like the most that he was in it was actually Captain Marvel, and even then, it kind of holds back on that character a bit. I feel that they could definitely do a thing. Even though what bothers me is that, is it a prequel, Phil? Because
no,
Secret Invasion is,
because Nick Fury as a character.
Nick Fury is up on whatever the spit that
he's
the
not
sword.
Nick Fury. He's the alien dude, right?
Yeah,
he's Talos.
Yeah.
So
to me, what's
with
bothersome is just that Nick Fury's story is basically told at the end of the Winter Soldier, and there's like no reason for him to be in the rest of the Infinity Saga.
It's a bait and switch. It's not really going to be about Nick Fury.
But I love Ben Mendelsohn, so
it's true.
On the movie side of things, number 5, Black Adam. I really want to see what The Rock does with this. I think he really wants to make
everything but
huge.
Make a good movie.
Number 4, The Batman. I'm into that.
There's going to be
I'm worried about the 3 hours of it.
There's going to be so much arguing with upcoming reviews that we do for shows.
As usual.
Adam will be fine. The director is fine. I didn't even hate Jungle Cruise that much, but that's basically what they're going for, of like good enough.
Number 3, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Again, I want to see what they do with it. I'm very curious where this is going.
Where?
Number 2, everywhere. Thor, Love and Thunder.
Oh, forgot.
I'm very interested to see where this is going.
We need to put a banner across the bottom. We are not sponsored by Marvel.
I am.
What's you guys?
Give me all the shirts.
What's the most significant thing in all of these movies and TV shows that has happened post Endgame? It's in Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, Spider-Man for sure. But it's aside from that, just the Marvel side of things, it's just all like initial setup of where they want it to go, and I think we don't see that yet.
No, Will talked about how Book of Boba Fett is wheel spinning. Since Endgame, Marvel has been in wheel spinning mode.
I tell you guys, I saw Eternals and it was awful, as you guys said. It like not the fact that Harry Styles shows up And I was thinking, oh, what makeup are they going to put him in? Nope. He's the brother of a purple alien, but he looks exactly like us. That is lazy.
Yep. Also, not to mention this depressing story. It's so depressing. The Eternals. Hi, I'm Harry Styles. You're like, do you guys know what the word fucking tone means? But I'm sorry, Phil. I cut you off.
And we also don't care about anyone's backstory, really. It's just there is none.
I was kind of into Kit Harington, though. I was very surprised.
Nope.
Nah.
It's gonna be a no for me, dog.
I should care more like about where his character is going, because it's gonna be what's it called? What was this character called?
He becomes something,
Moon Knight
doesn't
or
he?
Black Knight or Dark Knight or
something Knight, yeah, and he goes.
You know what I was thinking though?
The Blade or Morbius or something.
My one realization
Morbius.
was that Gemma Chan should not have been the emotional center of that movie, because she unfortunately can't act, and she seems kind of like a market correction to Kate Beckinsale, but doesn't even do it that well. Like that kind of stiff British model, good looks,
I can see that.
kind of stoic, badass chick, but she's not.
I'm
really
certainly
that.
not watching Kate Beckinsale for her acting.
It just very much did not give me like what's the word for like wanting to
Reason
care about
to
these
live.
people.
Interest. I believe the thing that the movie did not have was interest.
Wanting to care about these characters. Like,
Are you rooting for its special effects to win the Oscar, or are you guys on Team King Kong and Dune?
I'm looking at Don't Look
yeah.
Up all the way. Like,
yeah.
If that doesn't win, I
Don't look
I
up.
forget. Did you
Look up
like?
from
I
the
can't
ballot.
even remember. Did you start? We all agreed that movie was shit, right? Or am
I still haven't watched
insane?
it. I have not heard one person say it's a good movie.
No, but they're
Every
hiring a lot of
fucking
people to do
person
it.
My friend,
I
the
know that watched it hates
anti-vaxxer,
them.
said it was a good movie, so that should tell you all you
There
need
you
to
go.
know.
Number one, and obvious, Jurassic World Dominion.
Oh, I forgot.
I love these
That the-
movies. I don't care when they're bad. I just love them. There's just feed me more.
So is it frustrating to you at all? Because I've thought about it, of how well, in my opinion, actually directed Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is, that is so brought down by its script. Think about it, Rob, because like this movie came out, let's say 4 years ago. But
I
you remember
spent the majority, honestly, of that movie. I can see your point, but I spent the majority of that movie with my mouth hanging open, going, "What?"
I hate it.
It was
she's a
2
clone?
movies.
What the fuck?
Well, yeah.
Like
I
I
wanna
had
say
no
this, though,
idea
Rob.
what the fuck was. That's one of those movies where I legitimately had absolutely no idea what was going on by the end of it.
But I want to say this one thing about Fallen Kingdom, because then maybe we can use it as a promo piece for like when the next Jurassic Park trailer or whatever comes out. But think about this. You remember the opening sequence, which is the best opening sequence in the entire series of them getting basically the tooth and the guy getting on the helicopter as the Tyrannosaurus is taking him. Great special effects, great timing events. I remember the bathysphere sequence, which weirdly, interestingly, has Bryce Dallas Howard on the inside of the bathysphere, and Chris Pratt swimming around it is like an interesting way to film it. You remember the moment?
I think you just
last
said the 2 reasons why I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I remember him being tranquilized and escaping the lava as like funny. The sequence of him trying to get the tracker chip or the dino tooth out, and him jumping through the dino's mouth.
All the first half of the movie.
yeah. Or the last Stegosaurus, and then even the last thing that I'll say is how on the poster it shows the dinosaur and what he's going to be killed by, is interesting. The Indoraptors and stuff. So my point is because all of these sequences, at least to me, are memorably done and pointed, it is better directed than the first Jurassic World, but the script is worse. So
the whole second part of the movie is garbage. The first part of the movie I loved.
I watched it and I was like, eh. But I remember watching the first
Sucks.
Jurassic fucking Park, being on the edge of my goddamn seat. And but these ones, Jurassic World, World was passable.
okay.
Exactly, it's passable. Fallen Kingdom, and I guess I've forgotten the majority of the start of Fallen Kingdom because by the end of it, in that fucking, they're in a house with a clone little girl. I could not. I was like, I don't understand
that
what
was
the
so
fuck is going
stupid.
on.
But that was in the writing, though, wasn't it?
It was,
Like,
but it made me forget the start. Like, I honestly could not tell you a good chunk of what happens in the start because I was so confused by the fucking ending.
I hope this Dominion is like full on openness, like not like, sure, you can be in a city and do stuff, but like, I don't want to be inside all the time. Like, I want to be in the
being a
COVID movie, you don't know.
I think it could deliver on anything.
My impression from the filming of it is that they had enough money that they basically wasted as much money as they could on testing and shutting down production as many times as they have to get the scenes that they needed, which were dangerous to do from a COVID standpoint, but it cost them a lot of money that they decided to basically bite the bullet and spend anyway. I don't think that I think they spared no expense. But my question is, do you think it's going to be more like Jurassic World or Fallen Kingdom in terms of quality?
Jurassic World.
Is it going to be, or is it going to be I guess it's it's kind of us getting the Rise of Skywalker that we didn't before, right? Because Trevorrow is back.
Yeah. You know what? Trevorrow is, as much as he doesn't like to smile, he is, I'd call him an adequate filmmaker. He's a perfectly
he's not.
Adequate.
He's a terrible writer.
Adequate filmmaker. A terrible writer, absolutely. But from a filmmaker perspective, for getting me to stay invested in what I'm supposed to be watching, I think he's all right.
So you're a Book of Henry stan, is what you're saying.
Rob.
Oh, right, fine. I'll do my stuff.
Nobody's
heard of mine anyway, so that's fine. The number for the TV shows. First movie or TV show I'm looking forward to is a movie called TV show called Yellow Jackets that I saw a trailer for, which is about.
Hasn't it started already?
Oh, maybe it has.
It came out last month.
Yeah.
Oh, did it? Oh, I haven't started. I'll just watch it when it's all done. I just like the idea of it. It's basically Alive, but in the Ontario wilderness, which is good. Second one, I've been something called Severance. It's a Ben Stiller show about people, disconnecting their minds, their personal lives from their work lives, which kind of sounds like it has the potential for black comedy. Hopefully, it's not fucked up by Ben Stiller, who has a bad habit of doing that. Third one is, I think, like a lot of people, I'm interested to watch it, but I'm skeptically nervous of it. Is Lord of the Rings TV show that Amazon's putting out. I'm a little nervous it's going to suck, especially coming from The Hobbit, where The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings were spectacular movies. The Hobbit kind of tarnished them.
I would like to be pleasantly surprised.
Same here.
We'd like to be pleasantly surprised. Of Time.
Yeah, that's where the nervousness comes from. Looking forward to Sandman. Really like Neil Gaiman. I think Neil Gaiman's a good author, so I'm looking forward to see if they can keep Sandman as what's the right, because they failed with American Gods. American Gods is a bad show, no matter what people try to tell you, because it does not. It tries as hard as it can to stay committed to the book, but then it loses the point of what's good about the book. So I'm hoping the Sandman doesn't do that. The Sandman stays focused on evil, which is where American God should have stayed focused.
I like the casting.
It was fine casting. Like Ian McShane is spectacular. I can't remember the guy.
No, I mean on Sandman.
Oh, on Sandman. I'm sorry. Yeah. So looking forward to Sandman. Next one is one that, again, it's going to be a guilty pleasure, similar to Book of Boba Fett's Andor, the movie about casting Andor.
Curious,
yeah. And number one, of course, was like every fucking Star Wars nerd's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Star Trek Discovery season 7,
season 55, whatever it's into. Don't have a clue. But no, the Obi Kenobi show, which I call Obi Kenobi instead of Obi-Wan Kenobi. But yeah, looking very, very much forward to that. From a movie standpoint, not a lot is coming out this year that I'm really not interested in. I'm done with Marvel for a while. I just don't care. I need a break from Marvel. I don't like the hectic wheel spinning pointlessness of a lot of their work. And
there's nothing that can top Endgame is the problem.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. There's nothing, and I've got a feeling that when I watch Spider-Man this month, I'm going to be like, God damn, that was good. It's not going to get better. The only thing that might come on par would be Multiverse of Madness because of Sam Raimi. He is such a talented fucking director. But we'll see. I'm looking.
The director of Oz the Great and Powerful.
Hey man, I'll forgive him. Oz the Great and Powerful because this is the guy that brought us Evil Dead 2 and A Simple Plan. Like those are spectacular fucking.
I
movies.
love that band. So,
From 40 years ago, though.
Doesn't matter. A good director's a good director. Fucking what's
Brian
his name?
De Palma. Have you seen any of his last 5
De Palma's
movies?
a failure. But look at Spielberg. You're going on about fucking Spielberg. Spielberg's been doing it longer than De Palma.
You know, West Side Story is honestly, and this is the problem of why it bombed. I hear it is the best movie he has made this century, like in 20 years. Good.
I'll believe
like,
it when
that's
I see it.
Yeah.
For movies, Batman. Really looking forward to Batman. I think Robert Pattinson is a fine actor. The only person I'm honestly worried about is Matt Reeves.
Fuck that guy.
he's so attractive. Oh my God.
I don't think Matt Reeves is that talented a director. But I think that this is a
really.
Yeah, he's not. People talk about the Joker being fucking great. It's not. It's fine. It's fine. I watched it for the first time a few weeks ago, and I was expecting to be fucking blown away. And yeah, it's boring. It's a fucking boring movie. But I'm looking for Batman, honestly, mostly for Pattinson and Colin Farrell. I'm one of the few people that thinks Colin Farrell is a fantastically good actor.
He's not. He's not a good actor
watching him
at all.
in Bruges, watching him in fucking. He's the best part of Minority Report. I think he's great. I think Colin
the
Farrell's
best part of
great.
Minority Report is Steven Spielberg's direction.
No, absolutely not.
Or Scott Frank's screenplay. The screenplay for Minority Report is pretty good, in my opinion.
No,
I think
John Williams' music as well.
I think Pattinson will go up to the next level because of this Batman.
I think, Rob, your standard for it's just I have to rant for just like a second here, but this standard on the internet for guys, in particularly of not you, but of what people worship, of the white male persuasion, is like they basically have to be in a movie that's like interesting, is like the bar. And it's like with Robert Pattinson, it's like he's in the lighthouse. He doesn't even have to act well. They don't even have to act well. They just have to not embarrass themselves, and they're like fawned over of like people making excuses for them.
I think Pattinson has acted in stuff that's been good.
Bad movies.
Like Pattinson's been in Cosmopolis. Pattinson has been in the other one I can't remember.
White men fail upwards is the takeaway, basically.
No, I'm looking forward to that for a number of reasons, mostly Farrell and Pattinson. The Northman. I'm not a fan of the Skarsgårds. I kind of look at them like cockroaches.
I'm curious about
but
that.
Robert Eggers, for me so far, can do no fucking wrong, and both the things he has done have been spectacular. So I am very much looking forward to the Northman. Jordan Peele, very much. I think he has a great vision for movies.
I thought you said Jordan Peterson.
No, fuck. No, Jordan Peele, his new movie coming out this year called Nope, which I'm looking forward to. I did not think I would enjoy the first one as much as I did, but I had a fucking ball, and I'm really looking forward to the second one, is Across the Spider-Verse. I think I have just a goddamn ball with that. I don't like the part one
aspect of it.
I don't mind it because I honestly could care less for the majority of the story, the same way I could care less for the majority of the story in the first one. But visually, it was a feast. It was stunning to fucking look at, especially in 4K.
And it's great for people like me that love the Spider-Verse and the multiverse, and love it.
But one thing I did want to ask, because nobody brought it up, which doesn't surprise me, but is anyone, when I say anyone, I mean either of you two, interested in this idiot Pam and Tommy movie?
Nope.
No? Okay. I was just more curious because I keep on seeing
boycotting.
I don't know what the story is. Like, is the story that Seth Rogen shaved his beard for 5 seconds?
I see bots and stories from reputable websites saying, it's coming out. I'm like, I don't think anybody's fucking interested in this.
It's their relationship leading up to the sex tape and all that, and then the fallout of that, and the fact that he was beating her and stuff like that.
Was he?
She has come out and said that she doesn't like the fact that they've made this because it's giving her like kind of like that PTSD thing. And
who cares?
I haven't heard
I
her
do.
say anything publicly. Like I've heard that as rumor of like she actually hasn't said anything publicly about the project, but it's like that whole Sony's gonna buy Ubisoft kind of bullshit. Like it's just internet rumor. Like
No, there was
I don't
I
know.
think
something
Pam
that came
Anderson
out
is
that she
happy
was
to be
against
back
it.
in the fucking news. That's what it's about. But I was just honestly more curious because I've seen so many fucking
Incredible
sites
makeup
talking
job,
about it.
by the way, eh?
But it,
They
I
look
just like
spot on. Yeah.
zero interest in it. And I was
What
curious.
do you
if
guys
anybody
feel
here
about
had
Nick
interest in it.
Offerman?
I love Nick Offerman. I think he's
I
fucking
do.
great. Both him and his
Soured
wife. I
on
think
him.
they're great.
Like he's okay, but he hasn't really been in anything outside of Parks and Rec, and I don't think he will be able to, like, even
No, I think Nick
Devs.
Offerman is one of those actors that can disappear. Like he was in The Founder, and you really don't even realize that it's him in The Founder.
Are
He
you
was in
kidding
Sin
me?
City, and
He
you
looks
forget he's in Sin
like
City.
I never want. He looks like a cartoon character in everything that he's in.
I think he's great, Nick Offerman. I think he's very funny in the stuff that he's in. He's really funny.
Thanks,
And that's
guys, for sitting with me and talking about different things, movies, and TV on Hour of Sour. Next week, we're going to be talking about Star Wars Boba Fett 6, Peacemaker 6,
Bubble
Tragedy of Macbeth, and
All right,
then in Hour of Sour episode 11, who knows what we're going to talk about? We could talk about what are some of our movies and TV shows that we have rewatched the most, and or we could talk about what
classics we don't care about. What classics we don't care about.
What movies have a cult or huge following that you don't understand?
Oh fuck! Tell you that.
Complain endlessly.
Now, where do they go to find more of our content, guys?
Watchingcomplain.com and filmgamer.com, filmgamer.ca. The podcast Three Amazing People and Rob. And
and my other
food one
podcast
that Phil was talking about.
Someone
feed Phil
forbeginners.com.
Yeah, put it in my mouth.com, which I'm sure already exists.
If you're under 12, put it in my mouth.com.
Yeah, don't drink energy drinks, kids.
Why? Nothing wrong with energy drinks.
Kids should not drink energy drinks because they can have heart attacks.
Who cares?
Nobody should drink energy drinks because anybody will have heart attacks.
That's true. And I'm surprised I'm not dead.
All right. Bye, everybody. I'm the only one waving, you stupid motherfucker. Wave, Will or Phil. This is bullshit having both your names sound the fucking same. All right,
okay,
fuck
Bill.
this bullshit. Bill.